guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I have another notebook review for you guys. So if you guys remember, a month or so ago I was sent a Dingbats notebook to review, and recently I was contacted by Baron Fig to see if I wanted to review their Confidant. So of course I said yes, because I've heard great things about the notebook and I wanted to be able to share it with you guys. So full disclosure, Baron Fig did actually send me this notebook for free so that I would do a review. However, as you can see, I have not yet opened it, so all of the impressions and feelings related to my review are going to be my own. So let's get started. They sent me this in a little box. I did not save the box, but I did leave the actual notebook in the packaging. So the whole thing came with this little note card. So it's Baron Fig Tools for Thinkers, and then it just gives you some information about their mission, that they're employee owned, and that they plant, ooh, this is cool. They plant a tree for every Confidant sold. I did not actually know that. So here we have just some more information, you know, thank you for your order, and apparently they have a referral kind of thing where if you give $10, you get $10. Again, I don't know exactly how that works, but this little card of information comes in, so you can definitely check out their website. It is baronfig.com. So now let's go ahead and open up this guy. So first off, let's get scissors. Not even gonna try and do it with my nails. I'm just gonna go ahead and use scissors. Oops. So comes in this like shrink wrap packaging. Voila. Oops. So you've got the information. So it is the Confidant, which is, I believe they call it their flagship notebook. So it's like the first notebook that they did. It is a dot grid hardcover. And then on the back, it has little bit of a thing here. So Confidant, it's your best friend, your right-hand man or woman, the yin to your yang. This is the book that's small enough to go everywhere with you and big enough to work with all day long, whether at home, work, or in transit. And then it goes into the features. So it does open flat. You can get blank ruled or dot grid. Obviously I chose dot grid. Smart dimensions. So they adjusted the sizing so that you had a little bit more space. So I will actually go ahead and compare size to both the Dingbat and the Leuchtturm so that you guys can kind of see where it falls in that range. Quality lasting paper, so it's acid-free fine grain paper, 12 perforated pages at the back, and every time you buy one, they plant a tree, which is really cool. So it is 192 pages, the charcoal color dot grid, and it does not actually mark what the paper or what the weight of the paper is, but I will look inside. So let's go ahead and open up. So nothing on the inside of the lid. We've got this little information pack. So again, with the features of the notebook, little note from Baron Fig, and a little more information, and the whole thing that they planted a tree. So this is our notebook. Oh, it's a really, really pretty gray color. All right, so hold on, let me move this out of the way. So it's got like a cloth kind of a feel. Like, I don't know if you can hear that. It's got kind of a cloth feel. There is a notebook, or not a notebook, there's a bookmark. Goodness gracious. There's a bookmark that comes with it. It's yellow. And I have to say, I do love that it's like this nice neutral gray. Nothing on the front or the back, so no actual logo on the notebook itself on the outside. So first impressions, let's look at size. So I'm going to go ahead and show you with a Leuchtturm first, since that is what I use as my bullet journal. Let's see. So it's slightly smaller than an A5. So you guys can see here it's, I don't know what that is, half an inch smaller. So about like a finger width smaller, and it's a tiny bit less wide, which makes sense that since it is shorter. So it actually is not as narrow as other notebooks this height would be, I feel like. So let me see, I actually have, okay, so I have a Moleskine to compare. So we've got, all right, so you see Leuchtturm and Moleskine. The Moleskine is a little bit narrow, so the Leuchtturm gives you a little bit more width. If we put the Baron Fig on top, and actually let's do it like this, it is shorter than, you know, so the Leuchtturm and the Moleskine are the same height, but it is wider. So they give you a little bit like of a wider space, so it's kind of like the Leuchtturm in that regard. And to compare it with, whoops, to compare it with the Dingbats, which you guys remember the Dingbats is a tiny bit larger than an A5, and so you'll see that it is a bit smaller than the Dingbats here. So it is definitely a slightly more pocket-sized notebook. I'm not sure, like, I don't know, like, what, I don't think it's the same size as anything else, so like kind of like an A5. It's definitely not as small as an A6, so that's for sure. So kind of an A5 size. Let's see, so when we open up, now, oops. So this is the first time opening it, and the front page is always a little stiffer. You've got a nice little, ooh, that's a fun feeling. It's almost like a little bit corrugated, if you guys know what I mean. Like there's a little bit of a texture to this inside cover here. So you can write in this little box to label your notebook if you would like. Let's see, first, oh gosh, come on. There we go. So this is a nice like thick starting page, and you've got that first page glued in, but I like that you do have the dot like all the way to the start. So we've got kind of cream paper. So if you're thinking about this in terms of like a bullet journal, for example, some differences you'll have compared to, you know, a Loic term or the Rhodia Gold book or any of those is you don't have an index and you don't have page numbers, but you do have these dots. So let's see, I would say these are kind of gray. Let's see if I can. So these are kind of gray dots. They're not super dark, which I really like, but they do, at first blush, they seem a little bit bigger than a Loic terms dots. Let's compare. Yeah, so they're a tiny bit bigger, if you see that. They're a tiny bit bigger than a Loic terms dots, but they're about the same, like, color, if you will. So I think that this is gonna be really nice where they'll fade into the background. The paper itself is kind of cream, so again, should have kept this. So it's a similar color to the Loic term paper. The paper itself feels a little bit thicker, but again, I'm not sure what the weight is. I'm gonna have to look on the website and see if I can find that out. So let's see, let's take it from the middle. All right, so definitely need to break in the spine, but I pushed a little bit and it basically, the backing part of the book has laid flat, so that seems to be a very nice flat lay. So I will definitely go ahead and break in the spine off camera, so that'll definitely help it lay a little bit flatter. Let's go back here. So we've got our perforated pages at the back, which is something that I actually I find really useful. When I first started getting these notebooks, the Loic term has them, the Moleskine has them as well. I was like, I don't know, why do I need perforated pages? And you know what? Sometimes they really come in handy, so I do appreciate that they give that. It's a very fine perforation, which is nice. I'm not gonna like test it, but they seem like they're, you know, in there pretty good, so that'll definitely be one of those that I'm not gonna really know until I kind of use the notebook more and see what the general wear and tear is. So let's take a look at the back cover here. So again, we have the dot all the way to the end, but this one is perforated, so that's why it bent a little bit easier, even though it is glued down. And then we have the back here. So at the bottom, you have Baron Fig, which I do appreciate that they put it on the inside and you don't have like a logo on the outside. You know, it doesn't really bother me with most of them because a lot of times they're just kind of embossed, and so it's not really obvious, but I do like that they just give you a sleek plain notebook. And then you just have 192 pages, designed in New York City, made in Taiwan, Confidant 2, baronfig.com. So just a little bit of information right there. So you will notice that there is no elastic closure. So one thing that will be interesting to see over time is as you break in the spine more, will the notebook stay closed on its own without having that elastic? So looking at it from this way, you guys can see that this top cover is kind of like popped up a little on me. So I don't know if that's something that would bother you guys. I know if it's a notebook that I wanted to put in my purse, for example, I think I would like to have the elastic just because I tend to have so much stuff in my purse that I don't want to have things like get caught in the pages and then like rip my pages or like wrinkle them or whatever. So that would be definitely something to consider. But if you have something like a book sleeve that you could put in, then that might be like not an issue for you. Or if you plan to just use it at home or at work and you just kind of leave it there and you don't really transport it with you, then that would be one thing. Also, I mean, if you were to just put it in actually in a book bag with other books, then that wouldn't be an issue. But I'm just thinking for those of us who like to bring our lives with us in purses or backpacks and they're kind of a jumbled mess inside, that might be something to be wary about so that you don't accidentally mess up your pages. So I am going to do a pen test in a second, but I'm gonna go off camera for a quick second and see if I can find out the weight of the pages so I can tell you guys that. Okay, so I did find in their frequently asked questions section that, oops, and I can't actually zoom in here. So their paper is off-white and it is 90 GSM. So to give you an idea, a Loic term is 80 and the dingbats is 100. So it's in between the two. So it is definitely a bit, whoops, it is a bit of a thicker paper than the Loic term. And I also want to show you guys on here, whoops, so they have these two colors. So mine is the charcoal, to give you an idea. So this is the right? Yes, charcoal. So we have the charcoal and then the light gray is going to be even lighter, and the sizing is what it is. So this, I did remember, it is a flagship. However, that just means that it's this size. So that's this medium size here. So the pocket size is going to be, you know, smaller, like an A6, and then the plus is probably going to be somewhere in like a B6 or an A4 range. I'm not actually sure like how big that would be. So there are just the two colors and the three sizes that you have. So, all right, now let's get to the fun stuff. We're gonna go ahead and do a pen test. So I've picked out a couple of pens. So I have a Tombow. I just picked black because it's the darkest color basically, so it'll give me a good idea if it's gonna bleed through or not. So I've got the black Tombow, so it's N15. In terms of brush pens, I have both my Fudenosuke and the Pentel Touch. Then I have my normal everyday writer, which is my Papermate Inkjoy Gel Pen 0.5 point. I have my copper Faber-Castell because I use this a ton, so I definitely want to know if it's going to bleed through on the paper. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and do this broad gel pen by Signo to see how that is, because it puts down rather a lot of ink, so I think that'll be a good tester. And then I also have my Lamy. So this actually is an extra fine nib, so give you a bit of a fountain pen look at this, but with very fine. And wow, my ink is looking a little empty. I'm gonna have to refill that. Anyway, so extra fine Lamy, and this just has gray ink. I don't actually remember off the top of my head which color because I have a gray ink sampler from Goulet Pens that I've been rotating through. And then I also have my Kaweco, and this is a medium with some like teal green ink. So this puts down a bit more ink, so that'll give you a good difference between these two fountain pens. So let's see, I'm gonna take the last page here because it is the same weight, and let's give it a go. So I'm gonna just, oops. Actually, no, we're gonna start with the brush pens. So let's see. Ooh, should have done that taller. Whoops. All right, so we have Tombow, and so let's do a little swatch. And right, and 15. All right, so Tombow, how'd you do? Okay, so I wrote over the perforated section a tiny bit, but I have to say it looks like no bleed through. There is a bit of ghosting, but honestly that's pretty standard with almost all notebooks and it doesn't really bother me. So that's our Tombow. Let's do this guy. A swatch. So this one, I think it actually is a question that I've used it so much it's starting to run out of ink, which is one of the reasons why I also picked the Pentel. So I'm gonna actually go ahead and do this guy so we can compare them. Okay, so to give this a comparison, oops, let's go ahead and line up my pens here. So the Sign pen is, I haven't used it quite as much, so I think there's just more ink in there, whereas the Fudenosuke I've been using a lot, and so he's starting to fade a little bit. So to give you a better idea of how those work. Oops. So I have to be careful because this is 90 weight paper. I need to let stuff dry a little bit more before I flip the page. So I'm just going to put this guy down to protect that facing page. All right, so again, we have ghosting, but no bleed through. So that is a good sign. All right, whoops, move this guy out of the way. So I'm gonna go ahead and do my Everyday Writer and my 2 metallics and show you guys those. So. So I went ahead and just did all of the pens because naturally I realized after I started that these 4 all take longer to dry. So I wanted to go ahead and get them all down on paper, let them dry, and then I can flip over and show you guys. You might have noticed that I smudged a little on this one because I dragged my palm over it. Is what it is. So let's see. Oops. Flip these back. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and put, I had a little bit of an ink flow. I don't know what's going on with this guy. This Uniball Signo that I got, I'm sometimes having trouble with ink flow with it, so I had to doodle a little bit on there to get it to actually work. So let's go ahead, protect those. Oops, and actually, there we go, flip back. Okay, so let's take a peek. So we have the back of my Inkjoy gel pen, Faber-Castell, Signo, Lamy, and Kaweco. So, taking a look here. All right, it doesn't look, I'm a little suspicious of this one little point that might be bleed through. I'm not sure, but honestly, none of them bled through. I can feel raised bits with my fountain, actually no, with the Lamy because it's the extra fine, and with my Inkjoy because the gel pen, like it definitely will give you some indents in your paper, but it isn't bleeding through, and there's pretty, like honestly the ghosting is about the same for all of the pens, and they're really not, it's really not that bad of ghosting. So let's see, oops, not too bad. I actually did let that dry fairly well. So definitely with 90 weight paper, this is a fountain pen friendly notebook. I have to say that I really, really do. I like the design a lot. I'm not sure that I would use it as a bullet journal just because it is a bit smaller and I like having that A5 space. Also, let's be honest guys, I'm a little weird. I want to have all like terms as my bullet journals because then when I have them sitting on the shelf, they're all the same size. It's kind of whatever I started with is what I'm probably going to go with. However, as a notebook for something else, I am really excited to start using this one. So I'm not sure what I want to use this guy for yet. It, like I mentioned, will probably not be a bullet journal. However, I'm always happy to have more fountain pen friendly notebooks in my collection because you never know when you're going to need a notebook for some particular purpose. And I have to say that it's just a really nice, sleek looking notebook. And honestly, the way to my heart is through all things gray and or black. And so the fact that their main colors are charcoal and light gray makes me really, really happy. So yeah, if you guys have any comments or questions, I hope that I went through all of the major points. Oh, actually, let me give you an idea. Hold on a second. So the dimensions on this guy, so this is, like I said, this is the flagship, which is the medium-sized one. It is 5.4 inches by 7.7 inches. And you know, with the comparison before, you guys will see that this is slightly smaller than an A5, but definitely nowhere near as small as an A6. So it is definitely kind of a portable, pocket-sized kind of notebook. So yeah, if I forgot to include something that you guys wanted to know about, I hope I got everything, paperweight and all of that kind of stuff, but let me know down in the comments section, and let me know if you guys have used a Bear and Fig notebook. I know they've got a couple of other, like this is their main notebook, but I know they've now got a couple of other ones. Let me know if you've used them and like them, because I have to say that this is, you know, this is my first one, and so I'm really excited to use this notebook once I figure out what I can or need to put in it. But yeah, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.